Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam, and in today's video, we're going to be doing another reading vlog. I'm very excited about this one. This week, I'm going to be reading only library books because I'm a big library reader. I love reading books from my library that I'm not sure will necessarily be an absolute favorite. Maybe it's a new author that I have never read before, and I don't know if I'll like their writing style, or, you know, I don't have the space or the funds to be able to buy just every single book that I am slightly interested in. And the library is great. If you don't have a library card, get yourself a library card. I love the library. The last month or so, I really haven't been using my library that much. Just the way the cards have fallen the last couple months with my TBRs and my library holds. I do have quite a few books on hold for like the Halloween and Christmas season. I put holds on a bunch of books earlier this year, and at my library you can pause your hold until a certain date, and then you will be front of the line once that date comes, and you'll get the book almost immediately. Like whenever, if the book is currently checked out, then you'll be the next in line for when it's returned. And holiday books get very, very, very long library hold waits because obviously everyone wants to read them only at the holidays. So if you don't reserve early, there's a good chance you're not going to read them, which has happened to me the last 2 years. So once I figured this trick out, I'm doing it all the time. At least at my library, they have a ton of titles, and you can hold books online and they will ship them to your closest library, which for me is just right around the corner. And then you can pick them up from there, which is great. I love it. Anyway, I digress. Enough about library opportunities and how a library works. But if you haven't gotten a library card, highly recommend. So this week I'm going to be reading a bunch of library holds. I actually already read this the other day, so we have one library hold off my list. The first book that I will be reading in this video is Business Casual by B.K. Borison. I have the e-copy of this one, and I have it through Libby, which in Canada, Libby does not connect to your Kindle, which is really frustrating. But I know in other countries you can, so you can download library titles right to your Kindle. But I have to squint my little eyeballs and read it on my phone, which it is what it is. I try to avoid that where I can, but sometimes can't help it. I'm very excited to read that one, and I thought I was gonna have a longer wait for that book, but I'm glad that I will be able to read it still very much fall here, because each of the books in the Lovelight series take place in a different season. So I've been trying to space them out and read them in the season that they take place in. And I'm not 100% who these ones follow. I think it's siblings to some of our main characters in other books, but I'm very intrigued. I didn't love the first book, loved the second book, didn't love the third book, but I have a feeling that it might be partially because I listened to it on audio. So that's why I'm reading this one as an ebook, because I feel like I just might like it better. So I'll chat about that one once I am like halfway through probably. And then the other two books that I have out are The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is probably going to be the second book that I pick up because it has the shortest, I have the shortest time left with it. So I want to make sure that I get this read and back to the library. So this book is the like spin-off series for the Inheritance games, which I thought that this one was still going to be following the brothers, but it's not. This follows the game that is announced at the end of the Inheritance games and follows some other people. So I'm not sure how long the series is supposed to be. The Inheritance Games wasn't my absolute favorite, but I'm intrigued to see what happens in this next book. And then I also have Confess by Colleen Hoover. This is on my November TBR. I'm pretty excited to read this. I think that I've heard decent things about this one. I find Colleen Hoover's books very easy to read and get through, and they're always very exciting and like fast page turners. So I'm intrigued to read this. I really want to read the rest of her backlist because I'm just nosy and I need to know what else she's written. I really liked all of the books. I'm just looking at my shelves. I liked all the books that I own from her. And I also read the Maybe Someday series, which was absolute garbage. I definitely read that entire series because, again, I'm nosy. I needed to know what's going on, but I'm intrigued to read this one. And I'm pretty excited about all the other books that I still have left. So excited to get another book off of my list of backlist books that I have left from Colleen Hoover. And I think this is just gonna be a really quick, easy reading week, if I'm being honest. A couple of cute little romances. Well, I don't know what's gonna be in Confess. I think that's it's art and relates to like people's traumas, or I don't remember. I don't like reading the backs of books before I read them. I like going in blind. I like being surprised. So I'll give a synopsis when I'm reading it, but I'm going to start with Business Casual, and I'll just give you a little check-in when I'm halfway through or so. That's enough rambling for the intro of this video. I'll talk to you when I am reading Business Casual. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It has been a lot longer than I wanted it to be before I filmed this update. I didn't necessarily forget that I was filming this reading vlog, but I kept forgetting to make the time to update this reading vlog. So in the time since I've last spoken to you, I have since finished Business Casual by B.K. Borison, and I love this. I thought this was really good. I thought it was a great way to wrap up this series. I ended up settling on a 4.5 star rating, I think. This relationship was very physical, but I really appreciated that there was a pre-existing friendship between our two characters, so it wasn't just that like insta-love sort of vibe. Like, our characters really spent time together and learned about each other, and both like helped each other grow together, but also separately as individual people. And the third act conflict made sense and wasn't unnecessary and was a very realistic situation, I guess. This also included ADHD and chronic migraine rep, which I think is the first book that I have read that includes both of those things in like very explicit detail. Actually, no. I have read another series that includes ADHD at least, but in this book it was introduced right at the beginning, and I appreciated how it just talks about the way that our characters' brains worked and just the things that they were going through. It just felt like a really real relationship and real situations that these characters were going through. There was definitely 5-star moments, but I didn't get an overall 5-star feeling. But this was great. I love this one. So, had a great time. Yesterday, I ended up picking up The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because this is due at the library tomorrow, I think, or maybe Friday. I ended up reading just about half of this, and I don't really know what to say about this. This book is the first book in a spin-off series to The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I wouldn't say you necessarily have to read the first series to get into this, but there's a lot of things that are hinted at and make a lot more sense having obviously read that series first. Without giving too much of the other series away, in this book, we're following a group of characters who were selected to participate in this game. in which they are solving different riddles and clues to be able to win this large monetary prize. I feel like some of the characters in this book are talked about in the previous series, and I just don't remember enough to remember them or make the connection of who they are and what their backstory is from the first series. This is also a multi-POV book, but we don't get the POVs from every contestant in the game, which is kind of strange to me. Like an interesting choice, I guess. But there's not really any characters in this book that I really like or feel like I connect to at all. I'm very much just along for the ride, and the way that the game is playing out, it feels very much like an escape room, and there's a lot of riddles and clues and things that are obviously presented in the book, and I am very much just here for the ride. I'm just reading this book, just trying to get through it essentially, and my brain is not thinking about the riddles at all. I have no idea what the answers are. So as they are revealed, I am surprised. It's fun, but again, it's nothing like super special. I'm not really connected to any of the characters at all, which I think you don't have to be connected to characters, but it definitely improves your enjoyment if you can relate to the characters and really take something from the book. I'm hoping to finish the rest of this today. My mom and I have the day off today. We're going Christmas shopping, which is a tradition that we have started in the last couple of years, and I'm very excited to spend some time with her and also just to have the day off. So I'll check in with you once I probably finish that book. Hi everybody, happy Monday. I definitely left this reading blog go off the rails and just definitely did not prioritize it the way that I was hoping to, so I apologize for that. Fingers crossed I can get on top of everything again and get back on track and be able to create some super fun vlogs. I have some ideas. I'm excited. But let's wrap up this reading vlog. The first book, I ended up finishing The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I ended up finishing this on Friday, and I think I'm settling on a 3-star. This was not my favorite. Basically everything that I said at my last check-in still stands. I wasn't really connected to any of these characters. I'm not a huge fan of this world as it is. The riddles and puzzles are a lot of fun, but as I'm reading this, I'm really not paying attention to the riddles and trying to solve them. I'm just trying to understand what's happening, and the riddles just made it super confusing. This book also follows 3 different POVs, and they're all separated at various points in the game that is taking place in this book, and each group or each POV is dealing with different riddles. So one riddle isn't solved within one chapter or even a section of chapters. We are looking at 3 different groups of riddles all at the same time. So it was really hard for me to follow at times, and I just honestly didn't really care. Like I said, it wasn't horrible, but also I'm the type of person that once I start a series, I can't stop until the series is actually finished. So I will be continuing the series when the next book comes out. Then over the weekend, I read Confess by Colleen Hoover. I didn't have any check-ins or any B-roll or anything about this book, so oopsies. I was really enjoying this book. Well, I was definitely enjoying this book for the first probably third to half of this book. In this one, we're following Auburn, who is trying to rebuild her life, trying to get herself back onto her own 2 feet, and she meets Owen, who is an artist who has this studio who creates art based on people's anonymous confessions, and I found that to be really interesting. This specific edition has artwork throughout the book, but Also has colored artwork in the middle of the different art pieces, paintings that he creates. But I found that plot to be very short-lived. I thought that his art and art studio was going to be a larger portion of this book than it was. Both of our main characters are 21, and Auburn especially felt really young, but then they were also talking about things like they were in their 30s. I was like, you are 21 years old. Like, how are you in these positions and thinking about things this way? It just felt really strange. And aside from Auburn, everyone else gave me huge red flags. Just the things that they did, the things that they said. I just really didn't trust anyone else. And I also felt that we were kind of looking at this story and these characters through a window. We weren't really, at least I didn't feel like I was in the story and part of what was going on. And that might have just been because I didn't feel like I was connected to these characters in any way. There was kind of a twist in the middle of this, which I fully saw coming. So another 3-star read for me. But I'm very glad I was able to get through some of my library holds. I have to return these books today and pick up another one. But in this reading vlog, we read Business Casual, which was a 4.5-star read for me. It's super fun and glad to be finished another series. Read The Greatest Game, which was a 3-star. It was okay. This is technically a start to another series. I feel like it'll be a trilogy, but in my mind, this feels like just a continuation. So glad to be making my way through this series. And then just a standalone, glad to have another one of Colleen Hoover's backlisted books off of my list. And another 3-star. So a super fun reading vlog, and just another message to all of you that get yourself a library card. They are super fun, and I'm glad that I was able to read all of these books and not spend a cent. And glad that I didn't buy these ones because they were good, but nothing that I would necessarily want on my shelves. Let me know if you enjoyed this vlog topic. I guess I would love to do more of these and really focus on books that are in my library. With that being said, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up so that I know. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.